morning, guys. Joining us, me and Sunday here, my brother, on our trip to the factory again from our compound in Lagos. I'm continuing to explore the different chemical pathways that could facilitate or could have assisted in facilitating the curing process and the curing vats that was discovered in Hallstatt that existed from the late Bronze Age. And it is remarkable with how much certainty we can start to unravel what that system looked like and the implications for further curing. It brings to light why certain things was done in a certain way. Well, it's because it was done like that for centuries. So the issue of burying the meat in the clay in the curing vats at Hallstatt, I looked at this issue of burying things a little bit. Richard Bosman back in Cape Town told me that they would ferment wine as well, grapes create wine, ferment grapes by burying the vats underground. Christa Berger then came with more information on in Norway they would ferment fish in a similar way. Fermented fish, they would bury them in caskets, and that goes back to the 1300s AD, I think, is the earliest reference to that. But if you think about it, the main purpose why they would bury these things is because of fermentation, to create an anaerobic environment, an environment devoid of oxygen. And fermentation, fermentation in meat processing would have happened before there were things like clay pots or even wooden vats. And there's stories about the creation of meat from the Sand Bushman in South Africa that talks about the creation of meat that probably happened accidentally with honey in a tree trunk or something that somehow got covered, and an anaerobic environment was created. And the back to the fermented fish from Scandinavia, they used to add bay salt to the fish, very specifically bay salt. And we know the importance. There's an article I did on bay salt and the microbial species in the bay salt that would have facilitated for sure the curing of meat. Now the next we looked at the breakdown of the amino acids, deamination, and the creation of ammonia previously. But there's another process, and that is autolysis, that is at work in this. And autolysis is the self breakdown of the body through enzymes, breaking down the body after death. Now, the breakdown of the body after death, of course, is in the red meat industry, in the beef industry. We know it as aging. Through enzymes, at the right temperature, of course, it happens just slowly, but it continues to happen. The muscle structure starts to break down, and it softens the meat, it tenderizes the meat, right? So, but the beef muscle is very strong, very densely packed, less densely packed and less strong, and more consisting of more water is pork. So autolysis happens quicker in pork. So this is not the bacteria-driven process. This is the organism itself digesting itself in a way. Well, not in a way, it is. It's exactly what's happening. And then there's fish, where it happens rapidly, because in fish is a cold-blooded animal. So the enzymes evolve to the point where they are not so severely impacted by low temperatures, as is the case with pork and with beef. Fascinating. So autolysis, the self breakdown of the flesh of the organism, of the animal, pork in the case of Hallstatt, and also a little bit of beef, was then another element that factors in, because as it breaks down, it becomes more available for bacteria, and bacteria feed on this, and they do their thing. And one of the things that they will do will be deamination, the creation of ammonia, which then in the curing environment it's anaerobic, and you need an aerobic environment to change the ammonia into nitrite, to oxidize the ammonia, which will be then when they hang it. Now the fermented fish from Scandinavia, there's definitely examples of them hanging the fish, aerating the fish, they called it, post salting in the ground. And I can just imagine that this was done even prior to, like I said, prior to clay pots being used, and wooden vats, definitely prior to the existence of wooden vats. So these things are fascinating, and the fact that things were buried for the purpose of removing oxygen and inducing fermentation. Fascinating stuff.